Okay, so we're going to dive into this week 1 film against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the main thing we're going to be doing on this channel is we're going to be diving into the run game. We will look at some passing plays, but we're going to focus mostly on the run game. We're not going to dive too deep into the rules of the run game in these videos, primarily because I will have separate videos for that purpose, so that we don't make these videos much longer than they need to be, because they're going to be long anyway. So the Cowboys opened this game off with a wide zone run to the left. What was cool about this run is that you see the tight end motion inside and then kick out to block the end man on the line of scrimmage on the right side of the line of scrimmage. Typically now in a wide zone, your rules actually dictate that you ignore that guy. And I'm going to start to explain that right now as we go through the lineman's responsibilities. Now the linemen, when they're determining their responsibilities, they are going to ignore the end man on the line of scrimmage on the backside. So if you see this picture here, your left tackle is play side, so he's considered covered. Your right tackle is backside, he's considered uncovered. Now we'll start with the right tackle, we'll work our way over, and we'll talk about what each one of these linemen's responsibility is and why. So your right tackle again considers himself uncovered because that 5 tack is somebody he's ignoring. So because he's uncovered, he looks to his play side gap. His play side gap is closed. He has to determine if it's open or if it's closed. There's a 3 tack over the guard next to him, so that gap is closed. If this were a 2-eye, then that gap would be open. But it's a 3 tack, his gap is closed. So now your right tackle knows he's going to be working a combo block with that right guard. The right guard looks up, sees the 3 tack, knows that he's covered, and he's covered backside. So he knows he's working that combo with his right tackle. Your center, in similar fashion, realizes he's also uncovered. He looks to his play side. There's a 2-eye on the left guard, so he knows that his play side gap is closed, and he's going to be working in tandem with that left guard. Now the left guard, because he has the 2-eye over him and we're running to the left, he knows that he is covered backside. And your left tackle, he has the 5 tack on his left arm. He knows he's covered play side. So he is going to be working a solo drive reach block. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at what all of that looks like. So here you have it. We have one combo on the back side, we have one combo on the front side, and we have a solo drive reach block. Now, of course, we have to do a little bit more than that because these double teams have to lead somewhere. Again, we're ignoring this guy typically in a wide zone, but we do know that our tight end did motion in, motion back out, and punch him in the mouth. So what comes next? Now, once you've determined your responsibilities on the first level, what do we do to the second level? What are we doing with those linebackers? You have to determine where these double teams are working, because those linemen aren't going to stay. Their intention isn't to stay on the defensive lineman the whole play. They do need to get to the second level in order to block up these linebackers. So what I like to do is I'm going to draw a line straight through the center's helmet to determine play side, backside. So typically the first play side linebacker, well, the first play side threat on the second level inside the box is going to be the point. And that's where that play side combo is going to work towards. And your backside combo is going to work back to the -1, who is the next person backside from the point. So this is how that looks, right? This is the whole picture. We're running inside zone to the left. We see our drive reach block. We see our combos, and we see where they're working up. We see our tight end's going to do his fancy motion and kick out block. And this is a whole lot of choreography for one play. And this is why I love the run game so much. So we're going to see our tight end kick out and get this beautiful block. We see our double teams taking place, and we see our drive reaches landed as well. And then look, our double teams now, they're going to work off those defensive linemen and get up to their second level, to those line blockers. This was beautifully executed. This is exactly the way that it was meant to be run. your Dallas Cowboys did a great job on the first play of the 2025 season. So this was interesting. When I first saw this on the screen, you notice that we have trips, and the trips are to the short side of the field. Quite often, trips are going to be to the wide side of the field because you want more space to operate if you have three receivers on one side of the field, right? Or one side of the line of scrimmage. So as soon as I saw that, I was clued into, hey, what's going to happen? What is the plan here, right? And you look at who's off the line, and it's Cavante Turpin. So you say, okay, Cavante Turpin's either going to go in motion or Jake Ferguson could possibly go in motion. In this instance, it was Cavante Turpin, and we do a little jet touch action. Now, this great design play, easily pick up a couple yards, but you wonder if this is a nice use case, this lead block for Hunter Lepke at some point, who needs to get in the game a little bit more. I mean, what are we paying him to sit on the bench for, right? But anyway, that's up to the coaches. Hopefully, they have a plan for him. I do give these coaches the benefit of the doubt. So far, I like just about everything they're doing. Now, this motion I thought was awesome. As soon as I saw this, I was taken back to the preseason. I can't remember which game it was, but in the preseason, we did the same thing. Joe Milton was in at quarterback, and I believe Jonathan Mingo was the wide receiver. And he ran a slant route, and it was an easy pitch and catch. We didn't run the slant route here. What we ended up doing was a stop route. This defender is going to back off once the motion starts. And we ran a stop route, with George Pickens. And again, it was an easy pitch and catch. So I really do enjoy that. And one of the things I enjoy about that, you see, quite often when we talk about schemes, and it's a big conversation with the West Coast. West Coast talk about these quick passes that they use to help supplement the run game. That's what this is. This is dressed up and it's pretty and it's fancy and it's different, but it really is just supplementing the run game. The intent here wasn't to get a touchdown. The intent here wasn't to get 10 yards. The intent was to stay ahead of the chains, and they were successful in doing that. I'm going to go ahead and skip through a lot once the point has been made because we really don't want to, again, we don't want to prolong these videos any more than they need to be. You see, we got a bunch formation. We're going to go ahead and get motion again. The Cowboys used a lot of motion in this game. That was awesome to see. So now one thing we did a lot in this game that was fun was we used a whole lot of gap slash man runs. So now with the gap scheme, I did a clinic where the persons who were teaching the clinic said, we're going to make the gap scheme as simple as we can. And they did. They grouped all gap runs and said, these are the parts, these are the elements, these are the recipes you're going to see in all of these gap scheme runs. So they call it the 3 W's: the wall, the wham, and the wrap. And it was beautifully done, and that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to talk about the wall, the wham, and the wrap. So on the back side, you're going to have these down blockers who are going to create a wall. Then you're going to have the wham. The wham is going to be responsible for that C gap defender. If there were a tight end here, then he would be coming around again, the D gap defender, right? And then your wrap typically climbs up and gets the first, second level defender. So what I noticed though is that the Cowboys now, quite often they do follow that base rule where they'll have this blue line, where they'll have this wrap climb up to the second level for that first defender. But what I noticed they do quite often, and they did it a couple times in this game, this run included, they have this tackle climb up to the second line instead, and the wrap will come around and be responsible for this defensive lineman. So this is what's awesome about studying your team, right? I've done this with the Cowboys for a few years. This is my first time I decided to record it and share it with whoever else cares. And we're going to see all of these elements in play. So you see those down blocks all created this wall. You're going to see, here goes your wham. He's getting that C-gap defender. Now again, the tackle is climbing up to that second level, but your wrap is coming around to take care of this defensive lineman. Now, Is this a game specific plan because you're going against Jordan Davis and because you thought you were going to be going against Jalen Carter? It's easier to probably land this block than it is for this lineman to try to get over here. I don't know. We'll find that out the more we watch the Cowboys play. But I thought they was well executed, a well thought out game plan, and again now you'll see there goes your wall. Everybody's where they should be. There's your wham. There's your wrap. There's your second level block. It's beautifully orchestrated. So we're gonna keep it moving. Now this was nice. I did say we're gonna focus on the run game, but the thing that I liked here about this pass, and sometimes these things can be missed, is that the Cowboys did a great job using the defense's rules against them. And what I mean when I say that is when you're facing cover one, you're gonna have these imaginary lines running down the field. Now I've drawn in this yellow line to show where this imaginary line might be. I don't know what the Philadelphia defense's rules are, but typically this is where you're gonna see this divider line. And CeeDee Lamb now, because of where he's aligned, he's going to typically see inside coverage, or you see it really head up coverage. And that's because this defensive back knows that they're aligned too wide to expect any help from his free safety. So he's going to instead, he'll make sure he's taking care of anything going to the inside and forcing CeeDee Lamb to the outside, because he can much better use the sideline as a secondary defender than he can the free safety. So what the Cowboys do here is they motion CeeDee Lamb inside. So now once CeeDee Lamb motions inside, watch this defensive back. He's going to take more of an outside leverage because he knows that he now has help from the free safety because he's not aligned as wide. So knowing this, CeeDee Lamb is going to say, you expect that I'll take advantage of the fact that you're giving me this outside leverage. I'm going to fake hard inside and go to the outside where I know I have nothing but green grass. I'm sure you all remembered this play. It was beautifully run. And when you have somebody who can separate like CeeDee Lamb, let him just go to work. And that's what the Cowboys did. So this was a simple play. You have the option to throw a bubble over here to your tight end, or you're going to run the inside zone. And what would that be? A run screen option, I suppose. But many of these have alerts baked in. And of course, if your alert is your number one receiver, one-on-one, who just smoked somebody for a big gain, you are going to throw this ball up to CeeDee Lamb every time. The Cowboys did that and drew a flag here, if I recall correctly. Yes, absolutely, it was a flag. Now we're going to get us another one of those gap scheme runs. So you see our two pullers. And I thought this was a beautiful way to insert that fullback block. So let's take a look at our rules. This looks different from the gap scheme we looked at earlier, right? But again, our simple basic rules. We're going to look. We have our down block on the backside. We have our Wham, who's coming over to get that D gap defender because there's a tight end here. So this is a D gap defender. And then you have your wrap player. Tyler Booker, by the way, was doing a good job pulling, and I noticed this in the preseason. I think he had two runs where he was responsible for pulling, and he was doing a good job because I remember that was a big concern when he was drafted. It was this play now that made me go back and say, I see the Cowboys are not asking him to get to the second level, because you'll see when we get further in the play, it looked like he missed his assignment, but he didn't. So here you'll see there's your wall. There's your wham. Here comes your wrap. So I was thinking that the wrap is climbing up here to the second level, right? As I'm watching it live. And I couldn't imagine how he missed 53 in the hole. What I didn't realize, though, is that their rules dictated that Booker was actually supposed to come over and block 24. This double team was working up to Bond in the hole. So this one, this was one of those Madden favorites. I used to play Madden. So you got the bubble option, you got the inside zone option. You go zone. Now you're gonna see here, Book actually struggled with this block. This is a whole lot of strength. This is a whole lot of strength. This man just held onto Book, control Book, reached out and made the tackle. We're gonna go ahead and get some motion. It's been well documented. We used a lot of motion this first game, and this is something the coaching staff talked about, something we all hope to see. So it was great to see it. And you just put a lot of pressure on the defense. I mean, you're motioning one of the fastest players in the league. Then you're gonna have him and one of the best deep ball receivers in the league. You're gonna have them both running vertical, clearing out space for CD to just come over here and get wide open. This was an easy completion. The only thing that stopped Dak from throwing it earlier was the fact that he had to get off the spot, right? I mean, he had, was it two defensive linemen in his face almost immediately. Now, one of the things that the coaching staff talked about was marrying the run with the play action game. So you see, we actually have pull-in linemen on this play action fake. Now, what's cool about this is we saw a whole lot of this RPO action with Joe Milton. Do we see Dak um, doing any quarterback keepers? I don't think it's impossible because you don't need Dak to gain even 7 or 8 yards every time he does this. If Dak's going to keep this every now and again and actually run and follow this lineman, he needs to gain 3 or 4 yards just to keep these defenses honest, just to make them know that, hey, the Cowboys are willing to do this. And so the thing that's cool about this too is if you look at it, a lot of times we talk about play action and changing the launch point. We always think about this roll out and coming all the way over here or going all the way over there. But this is just moving the launch point in a different way. He's only moved back about 4 or 5 yards and then over about 2 or 3 yards, right? But what that does is that protects your offensive line. Because if the defensive linemen know where your quarterback's going to be every play, it's easier for them, right? So you move that launch point around a little bit, you make it a little bit more difficult for defenses to scheme against you. All right, so we're doing a same side counter on this one. Now, again, we're going to talk about the gap scheme a lot in this one because I really loved all of the variation we saw in the gap scheme in this game. So you're going to see that we're going to get our down blocks. We're going to get our wall. We're going to get that Wham, who's going to come out and get that D-gap defender. This time, our rep is going to climb up to the second level to get that lineman, Zach Bond. There goes your wall. This is beautiful. This amount of distortion from your wall is absolutely beautiful. And of course, you see your Wham coming in, and your rep has his eyes on his assignment. Both of those blocks land, and you see the vision from the running back. He sees that these assignments have been taken care of, and he's just going to go ahead and hit that hole, follow those blocks, and pick up a few yards. Listen, you're probably going to hear me say this a few times throughout this film, and forgive me if it gets repetitive, but your Dallas Cowboys did a great job executing in the run game. And what was really inspiring though was I heard Clayton Adams when he was talking about it. He acknowledged the fact that it was a good job, but he also spoke to, hey, there were some things we could clean up. So I love that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this thing develops moving forward. And we're going to be facing Dexter Lawrence this week, so it'll be very interesting to see what the plan is there and exactly how we run some of these things. Will it be similar to what we were seeing against Philadelphia because they also have a tough interior? Will it be something different? Again, as the season progresses, we're really going to be able to get a great feel for how these Dallas Cowboys run some of these schemes. So we're going to do a wide zone with a fake end around on this one, which is a fun wrinkle. And fun because you have these parts that are so dangerous. You have to respect Cavante Turpin's ability to receive that end around and sprint to the edge. You can't just pretend like this isn't happening, right? So here we're going with another wide zone. And as per our rules, we're going to get double teams again. So here it is. We've drawn it up. We're working to 30 and we're working to 53. We're ignoring number 3, the 5 tack, because we're running wide zone to the left, right? Now, what was interesting here was that these defensive linemen slanted down the gap very hard. And your Dallas Cowboys did a great job communicating this and adjusting. So our double teams all changed. Terrence Steele, whose name's going to get called a few times in this one, was the only one who wasn't able to adjust and get to his responsibility. You see these double teams, they were able to adjust and get where they needed to be. And they have their eyes on the second level defenders. They weren't able to get there though. Your left tackle was that Tyler Guyton, wasn't able to get off the block, and Cooper Beebe wasn't quite able to get to Zach Ball. But they were executing the way they were supposed to. And we did still manage a decent pickup. This was one, if you take a look at the screen, I think we're all pretty familiar with Y cross. This was an excellent way to get a manufactured touch for your number 1 receiver. Again, we go ahead and push a little bit of motion in it and make it fun. We really were stressing the defense with some of these schemes and concepts. I remember this. We got the snap off right before the play clock and ended up being a flag. Decent dump off, but the flag negated it. Yeah, that's right. That was the flag. This was holding. It could have been called unnecessary roughness. It looked like some karate going on. I loved it. But anyway, you know what? The Cowboys were very physical in this game, and I was happy to see that. And to be completely honest, these gap scheme runs, this one of the main reasons I was excited about the fact that we will be seeing more of the gap scheme runs is because it puts you in position to be physical. You're putting these big men on the move in space where they can go ahead and engage, right? So it's awesome for me because the Cowboys have been, for the last decade or so, we've been labeled as soft, or we got bullied by this team and bullied by the other team, the 49ers, the Detroit Lions. Everybody's bullying the Dallas Cowboys, right? So running these schemes is putting us in position where we can go ahead and punch the bully in the mouth and become the bully. So I love the fact that we're getting some split back looks. These are those creative things that, quite frankly, we just weren't seeing enough of under Mike McCarthy, Jason Garrett, etc. Unfortunately, Dak didn't have a lot of time to let this scheme develop or this concept develop. But I did love what was going on here. Yeah, and again, it's Terrence Steele getting smoked. Terrence Steele was absolutely getting worked. Now, could Booker have maybe sat a little bit deeper so that he could help him out a little bit better? Maybe Booker could have, but Terrence Steele's got to be able to give him at least a little bit of a deterrent on his way to the quarterback. One of the best concepts against single high safety, whether it's cover 3, cover 1, if you only have one safety, one of the best things to do is just have your best receivers go to work. And that's what's going to be really interesting about the fact that the Cowboys now have George Pickens. You have 2 dog receivers. And if you come at us with single high safety now, you got to let these guys work. And this is exactly what happened here. You just let CeeDee Lamb work on one side, you let Pickens work on the other, and Dak's going to choose whichever matchup he likes best. Gotta love it. So this paired with the fact that you have a great run scheme, because the run game was effective. It was 3rd and 1. So you're going to play single high if you're Philadelphia to hopefully defend the run. That gave you the perfect opportunity to let your dogs go ahead and get to work on the outside, right? So the Cowboys have the makings of some really good stuff. I would have liked to see Dak just get this ball out to Ferguson right about there. There was no reason for Dak to hold on to this ball and wait on Jalen Tolbert, but he did. He got away with it though, because I mean, it was kind of a dangerous pass too, wasn't it? Yeah, nobody was catching it. Now we're gonna see another one of those gap scheme runs. This time we're gonna motion the tight end in and have him insert as one of the blockers. Again, all sorts of creative ways that the Dallas Cowboys were running these Wham and we're running these gap scheme runs. There's tons of ways to get there. There's tons of ways to get there, and that's what I really liked. The Cowboys took advantage of many of those ways, but remember, the rules, regardless how you get there, the rules are gonna be the same. This was another one now where the Cowboys used the tackle to climb up to the second level and had that wrap player take care of the defensive lineman. Your Wham player, uh, I have him drawn into the B gap, but he's actually going to come out here and take care of the C gap defender. And here's your wall on the backside. So there goes your down block. Beautiful wall. Here comes your Wham. Going to go ahead and take care of that C gap defender. And your wrap is going to go ahead and take care of that lineman. Absolutely beautiful. And you see, of course, your tackle getting up to the second line as we discussed. 1, 2, 3. All the running back has to do is be patient, use his vision, drive those legs. And Javonte Williams did an absolutely marvelous job of that in this game. Straightforward, go get your touchdown. Good job. So the thing that's nice here is, again, we talk about marrying the play action game and the run game. Your offensive linemen are really selling. They're selling, hey, this is white zone. We're getting on our double teams just like we would if it was white zone. This this is a beautiful job of the offensive linemen buying into the system and doing their jobs. So this is another situation where you're saying we're complementing the run game or supplementing the run game. And because you're using Devontae Turpin to do it, somebody who's so dangerous with the ball in his hands, he has a little bit of space, and you're talking punt returner, right? So this thing could have turned into a much larger game, but at very least, you know you're going to get that 5 or 6 yards because you have to back off and give him space. This guy's coming at you full speed. You don't want to be right in his hip pocket because if Dak has enough time, you're going to get smoked, and that's a touchdown. So you back off, give him a little bit of space, and it's an easy pitch and catch. He's able to turn around, pick up a couple extra yards. And again, the Cowboys look at us being physical. Our smallest player is out here stiff arming people and talking smack. I love it. In fact, let's see that bit again. I want to see my physical Cowboys. I want to see my Cowboys not taking no more smack from nobody. Tired of being called soft. So here's another one. Let's go ahead and motion some more. And these weren't pointless motions. You know, we were seeing some real motion. Now, this was the play. This was the play that I don't think drew enough angst from the Cowboys fans. Before I get there, though, let's discuss duo. We haven't discussed duo yet this game. We're about to see a duo run, and we're going to talk about the base rules. Coach Paul Alexander is who I learned duo from best. I watched a clinic of his, and he did a great job explaining it. So that's how I talk about duo the way that I learned it. Right. So of course, the first thing we got to do is determine who's responsible for what. In order to figure that out when we're running duo, the center is going to count the defensive players in the box from the weak side, and he's going to count from the outside in, and he's going to count until he gets to the third player. The third player is the center's responsibility. Now, that player could be a defensive lineman, as he is here. It could be a second level player. Like it could have been Zach Bond if Zach Bond was shifted over a little bit, right? But in this instance, you count over 1, 2, 3, and that is the center's responsibility. Now, for me, I circle the center and I leave that on the screen anytime I'm studying because I use that as 0 when I do my next count, because the center now has to count from his responsibility out to the weak side and out to the strong side. So he's going to say 0, 1, 2, weak side. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, strong side. And this determines everybody else's responsibilities, and it couldn't be any more straightforward. Your backside guard is going to take 1. Your backside tackle is going to take 2. Your front side guard is going to take 1, who's off the line of scrimmage here. Your front side tackle is going to take 2. Your tight end is going to take 3. And this wing player is going to take 4. Keep in mind, this wing player could have been a fullback. He would still take 4. Now, we're going to ignore DBs that come into the box. Oftentimes, when DBs come into the box, you'll see the quarterback motion in one of his wide receivers and point to that DB to say, hey, that's your responsibility. So we're not paying any mind to the little DBs if the free safety decides he wants to come down into the box. So that's straightforward, right? We see what everybody's responsibilities are. Now, important to note, as we mentioned, if your assignment isn't on the line of scrimmage, like the right guard here, the right guard's responsible for 1, then you double team and you work up to that assignment. Very, very simple, right? So we're going to move forward and we're going to show you what that looks like. Backside guard, backside 1, backside tackle, backside 2. The center, we already identified his responsibility. The frontside guard, as we stated, he's responsible for the linebacker in this instance. He's going to double team on his way up. And your frontside tackle is responsible for number 2. So he's going to work that double team with it. And then you have the tight end responsible for 3, the wing responsible for 4. Now, here's where it starts to get a little bit annoying in terms of this specific play. This isn't a complicated thing. Duo is very, very simple. Your running back is supposed to be reading this linebacker. In fact, your running back and these 2 linemen who are double teaming on the way up to the linebacker are working together to read this linebacker. And it's a really simple read. So what it is, if this linebacker decides to stay here and attack that A gap, then the guard is going to come off his block because he's the closest offensive lineman to him, and he's going to block him, and he's going to try to turn him out this way because that's the leverage he already has. And then the tackle is going to stay on this defensive lineman and also try to block him in the same direction, which means your running back is going to try to run right up here behind those 2 blocks. That's where he should be. Now, if Baum would have scraped over into the B gap, let's go back here. Suppose Baum scrapes over this way, as opposed to coming into the A gap, he scrapes over here to get behind these guys, right? If he does that, if he's coming play side, all that happens is that Booker now is going to stay on the defensive lineman. Steele will come off and take Baum and block him out this way, and then Booker would try to turn the defensive lineman in that same direction, while Sanders would now cut back. But the way it played out, the linemen did exactly what they were supposed to do. This is the hole that Sanders should have hit. However, I absolutely no fault if he doesn't look at that hill, he reads the next hill, and he hits it. I mean, you have an absolutely wonderful block from 89 over here, right? What is not acceptable is completely ignoring this big gap in search of a home run play that wasn't there. So he caught, and when I say he, I mean Miles Sanders, he caught a whole lot of hell from Cowboys fans because he got caught from behind by Zach Baun and because he fumbled the ball, and rightfully so. Both of those plays sucked. He needs to be better. But this is the type of thing that the coaches in the film room are going to drag him over the coals for. This is the type of thing that if you see he gets less carries against the Giants, or if you see he eventually, I don't know, gets cut, because as we ramp up Jaden Blue, somebody's going to start losing snaps. If it's Miles Sanders, it's going to be because of things like this. Not because he got caught from behind and not because he fumbled. It's going to be because you're not staying disciplined within the offense. And we've watched, what, a quarter of football, a quarter and a half of football, and we've seen the linemen be very disciplined. We've seen Javonte Williams be very disciplined. We've seen this scheme orchestrated to near perfection. And if you're going to go off the reservation and do whatever it is you want to do, the coaches won't stand for it. So this play absolutely pissed me off. Rant finished, I think. Yeah, this was a well thought out concept. I mean, you're just clearing space again for CeeDee Lamb, and who knows if Dak had time here? Does he toss that thing to the end zone and give Lamb a chance to make a play because it's there? But anyway, this was one where my boy BB was just overpowered. I mean, that is a big, strong man. But I tell you what, Dak Prescott, that hamstring is doing okay. Can we, the next time we get Saquon Barkley, we get video of Saquon Barkley squatting 585 pounds, which is insanely impressive. Can we probably get somebody who's good with these crazy video things? Can we get Dak Prescott, I don't know, squatting Jordan Davis? I think that would be awesome. Just put him across his shoulders and yow, get off me, big man. That was pretty cool. All right, we're gonna get another little piece of motion. And here we go. I really enjoyed this play. Now, this was more pin and pull, but again, we're going to see similar concepts. You're going to get a wall created by these guys that are down blocking, and you're going to get two lead blockers. So this is where it differs a little bit because these lead blockers are really getting out ahead of you. They're not just trying to get the C gap guy. They are really laying down some wood for you out in space, right? And what was really cool here, and a lot of people noticed it, Terrence Steele was actually able to now pull as well. But he pulled and went straight upfield. But for me, again, now this was something that I discussed a little while ago. What what the most important part of this for me is that you have one, two, three, 300-pound behemoths out in space looking for somebody to hit. So you're making excuses for your team to be the more physical team. Can I get more of this, please? And you can almost guarantee Cavante Turpin will be house calling some of those if you keep giving him those options. All he needs is a small crease. Mm. See, they were concerned about Booker. Look at Booker pulling. They said he couldn't do this. Booker's doing a great job. He was doing a great job pulling. Does he have work to do? Absolutely. Seasoned veterans have work to do. Of course, the rookie has work to do after his first game. But this was a great job. Hats off to you, Booker. This is a trap. BB's going to block down Booker's man. Now, because of the fact that they slanted the way they did, BB didn't really get great control of him, but Javonte Williams just has great vision, so he was able to still turn that into a positive. We got a little motion here from Ferg, motioning back out. All right, what are we doing? So keep an eye on George Pickens here. This was one of the things that was discussed a lot with George Pickens. I mean, I don't need to get into it, but it's been discussed ad nauseum. But his effort was just when he knew he was in the primary or even secondary on a play, his effort it wasn't enough. And here's another one. Nice concept. I actually kind of feel like I would have wanted to see this run a little bit different in terms of what we did with CeeDee Lamb. Reason being, you have a safety that you could have, I think, put in more conflict if CeeDee Lamb runs a dig. If CeeDee Lamb's running this back into the middle of the field, I think now this defensive back has to figure out, am I coming down to CeeDee or am I going to stay up here for George Pickens? And I think you probably have a positive play. CeeDee needs to do a better job driving back to the ball too. Yeah, you can't just float and wait for the ball to come to you on that one, CeeDee. Yeah, that defender was able to break up that ball because CeeDee did not come back aggressively to the ball, and he's gotten away with doing it. Again, here we're just letting CeeDee and George Pickens go to work. This is another one where you just letting CeeDee and George Pickens go to work basically. So we saw it about 3 times this game, I think. It happens again later on, where you have CeeDee and Pickens on the outside going to work, and your option in the slot is Cavante Turpin. And yeah, say it out loud. When you say it out loud like that, it sounds awesome. Like that is going to be all sorts of hell for teams this year. This is where again, my guy's better than your guy, CeeDee and Pickens. You decide who you want to throw it to, but we're definitely going to go ahead and give you trouble. Here we drew a flag. Now, this was right before the half. The Cowboys did a great job. We weren't doing a great job getting out of bounds initially, but we did a great job with these 2 slants. The first one was double slants. Where are we? Here goes George Pickens. You're going to see double slants here. So this is great. All Dak has to do is determine which slant makes sense to throw to. If one's not there, 2 is. Pretty basic. And now here, CeeDee. When it's CeeDee, you don't even need another slant. You just say, go to work, big dog. CeeDee is, in terms of average separation score, which is a fantasy points data suite stat, CeeDee's average separation score on slants was top 15 in the league. So, I mean, and we know that. We've actually seen him run the slant with great success. So that isn't just a random stat. He actually really is good at separating on slants. They did a great job getting the field goal there. That was right before the end of half. Hats off, coach. Great game management. So second half, we're going to see more of that beautiful gap scheme run that we were seeing. Let's go ahead and take a look. Get a little motion from our tight end again. And again, now look at the different ways we're doing this. So earlier, the first play of the game, we motioned our tight end, had him kick out, and ran wide zone. Now we're motioning him, having him kick out, and he's being that Wham defender, right? He's blocking that C gap defender for a gap scheme run. So when you're giving a defense all of these different looks, and you get into these Wham runs from all these different variety of ways, it's stressful. And this was beautiful. So of course, you know what this is by now. This is gonna be your wall. This is your C gap block, and this is getting to the second level, right? Absolutely brilliant play design, Clayton Adams. Look at that. See your wall, second level defender, C gap. If you're a running back, just a little bit of vision, a little bit of patience. And Javonte Williams demonstrated vision and patience better than, well, clearly better than Miles Sanders. But he did a great job. He did a great job. The offensive line, I mean, hats off to you. But my game ball in this one is Clayton Adams. Clayton Adams was masterful. Here we go again. Now, do you see your lead blockers here? Yep. See the pull? That's going to be your Wham. And this is going to be your rat. And we'll take a look at it from the end zone. But I want you to be able to start seeing it live. You know, you're going to start watching games and saying, oh, I saw that. I know what they're doing. Right? So you're going to see your wall created. These guys are going to climb second level. Your tight end here. And then you're going to have your Wham and your rat. Let's play it out and take a look. Great job. Great job. Look at that distortion. I mean, what do you do with that if you're a defense? You're going to get that C gap blocked, and then Hunter is going to climb up and get to that second level. 1, 2, you go ahead, pick up a couple yards. Oh, these are always fun, right? fake fullback dive, toss to the halfback. Every now and again, you're gonna fool the defense enough that you can get a big play out of this. But at the very least, you're usually gonna pick up your 1 yard, and we picked up our 1 yard. More motion. Oh, if you've watched the Cowboys at all since 2016, you know what this is. I call it the Dak special. You get this seam route from the tight end, but not just the seam route. A lot of times, this seam route is paired with this inside fade. So you're putting a lot of pressure on the defensive backs over here. And there have been times, Dak loves the seam route so much, and he throws it great. But there have been times I've gone back and watched film, and I said, Dak, like the inside fade sometimes he's missed it. He's missed it. And I'm a Dak fan. This isn't me calling out Dak, but listen, when you have the success that you have on that tight end seam, I can't argue with you. And here's the thing. We know this offense is going to get better because there are two things that happen this game that aren't going to happen by themselves in most games, let alone together. You're not going to have CeeDee Lamb dropping balls, and you're not going to have Dak missing this throw. Dak missed this throw twice. There was once where it was a drop. It should have been a touchdown. We all know that. But Dak missed this throw twice, and this was one of them. So those two things aren't going to happen in the same game again, and there's a good chance you're not going to see either one of them happen again, period, for quite some time. So Cowboys fans, myself included, we can take solace in that fact. And yeah, I'm calling it a fact. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful run. Miles, I wish you would have taken it home, but such is life. We're going to take a look at the play. Again, we're going to get these two big boys leading for us. Pin and pull action. It's beautifully designed. Now, again, not quite the same as the Wham runs in the sense that you're looking at primarily C gap and second level. You're really looking to have these guys be lead blockers for you. They're getting out in space and hitting anything moving. But you do have primary, you do have basic rules. You have a wall, you have two lead defenders. Let's get out, create some trouble. Again, now Terrence Steele is going to also get out in space and lay down a beautiful block. In fact, Terrence Steele's block was the reason this thing sprung. But this is bully stuff, you see? Look, we're going to just throw this dude on his ass. This is what the Cowboys are going to be in 2025 under Clayton Adams. So get used to it. So I probably don't even have to tell you what this is at this point, because I think you're starting to see it. You see your tight end insert, you see your fullback, he's going to be your other blocker, right? So wham, rat. So let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, and this was a great game to really discuss these gap runs. This was a great game because we saw it again. We were able to see it from so many different looks. So we have our wall being created here. We have our wham coming out here to get the C gap defender. We have our rat getting up to the second level to block Zach Bond. And now this time Miles Sanders is your back. There's your wall. There's your wham. There's your rat. It's all right there. This time, Miles Sanders did a good job. Put your feet down, put your head down, drive your legs, pick up those yards. Oh, that was the Pickens penalty, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the Pickens penalty. I was trying to figure out why it was 1st and 22. This is the Saturday after, so it's a week and 2 days since the game was played. This is so well done. Because if you're playing two high safeties against the Cowboys, it's because you want to bracket CeeDee Lamb and you want to bracket George Pickens. There's no way you're going to let these two smoke you, right? So the Cowboys, what do? We're going to scheme against you. We know what your defense is trying to do. So we're going to draw you over here. We're going to draw you over here. And we're going to run our tight end right up the seam for Dak's favorite play. Oh, this was the other one that Dak missed, I think. I think Dak hit Bond in the helmet on this one. Yeah, this one was beautifully done in terms of the routes, the spacing. But Dak just missed. But look at this. See? It's not until the ball's coming out that this guy reacts. There was no way he was going to get to it. What this play design? Because look, see this safety, he's worried about Pickens. This safety, he's worried about CeeDee. You have a world of space for your tight end. The ball's released, and now you're reacting. There was no way he was getting there. If this ball is four more yards into the end zone, it's an easy touchdown. It's an absolutely easy touchdown. Look at all that space. Again, though, Dak isn't going to miss these often. We know this. Come and get CeeDee in motion. Quick little dump off, nothing special. For Verts. This was the one that should have been caught. I mean, it also could have been a concussion, but it definitely should have been caught. The ball's in your hands. Come down with that. You got to come down with that. He was mad in the backfield quickly on that one. All right, so here we're going to get a little bit more of our gap scheme. Again, now you see, this time we have a random motion from your wide receiver, and then you're going to have your tight end and your guard pulling. So you see where your wall is going to be created. You see your guard is going to give you that wham, and there's your wall. Oh, and this one gets a little bit messy, so we're going to draw each piece individually. There's your wall. Here's your wham. That C block defender is going to get taken care of. And then here goes your wrap. He's looking to get up to that second level. And Javonte just gets right behind him and follows him. See, the vision. Javonte knows that's the last piece. Look at the patience to wait, to get behind that wrap, and to just follow him and drive your legs. This is a disciplined running back. Oh, this was nice too. This was fun. I really did enjoy some of these past concepts that we were seeing out of the Cowboys, and I was seeing a lot of these fun concepts in the preseason. You're seeing a lot of these play concepts that involve more running away from defenders than running up the field and turning around, which was something we complained about for years under Mike McCarthy and Jason Garrett. Play action. Oh, if I circled you as a lineman, chances are you did something wrong here. Oh no. Oh, so here's what happened. We were again trying to marry this play action with the run game. So we have a pulling lineman. The issue here is that you're pulling lineman. If this end man on the line of scrimmage doesn't fall for this play action, this pulling lineman isn't agile enough to get out to him, and that's what happened here. So he was able to dip his shoulder and get around him with relative ease. We get CeeDee in motion out of the backfield. We're in empty. And this was a nice little concept to just clear some space for CeeDee to get an easy catch underneath. So the thing that happened here now is CeeDee was hot. They got the blitz off his side, as you see by the yellow arrow. So this would have been a quick slant to CeeDee regardless. But the fact that my man over here, Guyton, got beat so badly gave Prescott even more reason to get this thing out quick, fast, and in a hurry. So not much success on the wide zone run on this play, but again, you do see our rules are in effect. So you see BB quickly getting up to the second level to Zach Bond. That was a wonderful job getting up to the second level. Javonte sees the lane. Yeah, it was a good cutback. Just that Jordan Davis was able to get off that block by Booker with more ease than he should have been able to. So Booker's got to get a little bit stronger there. Oh, this one to CeeDee. This was really designed to trick the defense, and it just really didn't. You did have the elements there for it to possibly break, but it didn't do what you hoped it would do. This was one of CeeDee's drops. Now, I did like this play design. I thought it was awesome to have Terp motion right inside of CeeDee and then try to clear out some space for him. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get upfield quite as quickly as he wanted to. This little, I mean, it wasn't even much of a jam, more so than a reroute. That's a reroute. CeeDee has to catch that. This one hits him in the helmet, doesn't it? Yeah, it hit him right in the face mask. That's embarrassing. But again, CeeDee's not going to do that. Oh man, I can't wait to see what he does tomorrow. He's been talking. I can't wait to see what he does tomorrow. So here we go again. I was talking about this. You're gonna see a few of these plays where CeeDee and George Pickens are on the outside, and they're just trusted to beat their man. Whether these are option routes, and it looks like they might be, because of course, if these DBs are jamming them, they might just go ahead and run go routes, right? Best release, probably outside release go routes, and then Cavante Turpin is threatening in the middle of the field. Now, I think this was one of those instances where we had an opportunity with Cavante, because if you look, he has leverage and space. There's nobody that would stop Cavante if Dak's throwing this ball out here. And Blankenship is hustling over to CeeDee. He's worried about CeeDee. I don't care how fast you're able to turn your hips. If Cavante catches this ball on the move, I don't want to exaggerate and say it's 7, but if it's not 7, it's close. That might be a touchdown. Ooh, that got blown all the way up. Ah, is this another Terrence Steele? Oh, that's between Terrence Steele and Booker. Yeah, see, so that right side, the more they work together, I think we're gonna see that right side get a little bit better. Terrence Steele played a bad game, mind you. He played a bad game. The more experience the rookie gets, the more he can make up for some of that. And I believe that Terrence Steele is gonna work through some of this. He's not this bad. Yeah, this was where everybody was mad at Jalen Tolbert. All right, we're gonna motion into empty. Yep, motion into empty. Now I like this quads look, and I do think that if Dak was purposeful about getting the ball out to the running back here in the flat early, like maybe right here, he probably has some room to operate. But Dak was looking to get this ball down the field, understandably so. He did a great job at least making this a completion because he was under duress. Here we go again. Beautiful concept, smash concept at the bottom of the screen. If you're a tight end in the NFL and you can run a quick out, you are going to continue to be paid. Oh, this was one where Dak wasn't ready for the snap. Yeah, and I think CeeDee kind of half slipped the ball. This ball should have been intercepted. We got away with one. This whole play was just On to the next. Let's pretend it didn't happen. Oh, but what we can pretend like didn't happen. Guyton got smoked. I mean, what was he doing with his hands? He just got his hands slapped. I mean, this is because when you watch it, it's very easy to see this guy just runs right around him. But look at the hand fight here. This is where he lost. Right there. I got both your hands. I'm slapping them down. All of your weight is going that way, and I'm running around you. So the speed rush is impressive, but the hand fight there is where Guyton just got absolutely dominated. So again, more of the same. This time, Dak has better protection, and we're just running good route concepts into space. We're gonna go verts here. One of the things JT O'Sullivan pointed out, and people are debating whether or not this ball was being thrown to CeeDee or being thrown to Tolbert. I believe it was being thrown to Tolbert because if you're throwing this to CeeDee, this is going to be outside the numbers. CeeDee breaks inside to get this ball. It was just an overthrow to Tolbert. So Tolbert wasn't catching it regardless. CeeDee did a good job trying to catch it, but what was up with CeeDee's hands on Thursday? I have no idea. Here we go. I like the scissors concept on the bottom of the screen, and I suppose if we weren't dead set on taking deep shots down the field, getting this ball to the return route to Cavante Turpin underneath could have been dangerous because you have again your punt returner. I'm gonna always refer to Cavante Turpin as the punt returner when he gets the ball in space because if you get your ball this ball to the punt returner in space, he probably gets you at least into the Eagles territory, right? And then we're talking. So we all know we had every opportunity to win this game, and unfortunately, the chips didn't fall in our favor. We absolutely had every opportunity to win this game. We just did not execute when it was needed, and a lot of that was drop balls, a lot of drops. CeeDee with a few, Ferguson with a couple. Our linemen need to be better too, though, to give Dak some more opportunity. And here we go. We're gonna get a switch on the outside. This was the last play of the game. We all know what happens. This is the one that you can excuse CeeDee for not catching. Although when you paid the way he's paid, he expects himself to catch that ball. Let's just say that he expects himself to catch that ball. But it was hard. The question though is whether or not George Pickens was supposed to actually really be more aggressive and try to get a rub on this. I don't know, but in either case, on to the Giants. Thanks for anybody that chose to come along for the ride. This was fun. I really did enjoy the first game, and I'm looking forward to the second game. As I stated, I'm gonna be doing this for every single one of the Cowboys games this season. They won't all come out the same week the games played. Next time I release anything will probably be 2 Saturdays from now, and I'll be releasing both of the next two games. So please look out for that.